late at night, my brother took me into a restaurant and started asking me questions about what I wanted to be in life. And it was a normal conversation. I was in high school at this point. I was a freshman, actually, so I didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to be. But I had dreams and I had goals that I told him about. And as I told him about that, he started responding with even more questions, asking me about if this would be sustainable for the family and if this would be enough to support my mom. And I didn't leave sad about knowing that my dreams probably wouldn't be good enough for that, but I left with questions that I never asked myself before. And that was, are my dreams good enough? What can I do to repay the sacrifices done for me? And am I being too selfish? Ever since I was a kid, my mom has been there through thick and thin. She worked in factories, right, to be able to support me. She went through everything to be able to give me the life that she wanted for me. To be able to get to school, she drove me every day. Getting money was not easy. To even feed me was not easy, but she did it, right, to be able to give me a good life. So all these sacrifices, where she came to a new country to give me a better future, where she left her family behind, how do you repay that? Right? How do you ever repay that debt? Right? Many immigrant children have this need to repay immigrant parents for the sacrifices they make, right? In an article that I saw of children of immigrants on Guilt and Drive, the author states, it's a feeling of emotional debt that is simply a part of the second generation immigrant experience. Many children of immigrants feel the need to have to make their parents proud. And I wasn't an exception. Everything through high school, everything that I did, every class that I attended, every election that I went through, right? Everything that I did, I tried my best to keep thinking, what do I want to be? What is good enough to be able to support my mom, my family, and to be able to make something out of myself that if my mom were to look at me, she would be proud. And in those 4 years of high school, I couldn't find the answer. Couldn't. Everything, every career from nursing, right? Nursing, teaching, I was not interested in it. I kept looking other places. I was not interested in it. Anything that I was inspired by before didn't feel good enough. Because if it made me happy, okay. But would it help the family? No. No, it didn't. And I think at this point, I started to develop a more nihilistic view on life. Because if I wasn't going to be happy, but also I didn't feel like I would be good enough to be able to get into that career, then it just felt so meaningless. And so nihilism, which is a viewpoint that traditional values and beliefs are unfounded and that existence is senseless and useless, that became part of me, right? My existence felt useless. I didn't feel like I was helping or even making my mom proud. I couldn't even find a career for myself. And even then, the bigger question was, can I even pay for my own existence? Right? I couldn't even think of a career, which was an easy step, really. But I couldn't. And so, in my 4th year of senior year, my mom takes me to go see a movie. We go see a movie and it's titled Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a movie about a mom, an immigrant mother, and her daughter, and about nihilism, which, wow, okay. So we go see it, and in one scene, the quote appears, "Just be a rock." And this is a scene where the daughter is telling her mother that nothing matters. So just be a rock. And I looked at that scene and it felt so realistic. It felt so I related to it. And the movie did something with that quote. It changed it on its head. Where instead of saying that just to be a rock, right? Just be a rock. Nothing matters, right? So why should we try? Instead, it flipped that to say that if nothing matters, then why not make things be the way that you want them to be? So as the movie finished, we left the movie theater and we sat in the car. We had a very long conversation where I sat down and I told her everything I've been feeling for these 4 years, right? How I felt like nothing I could do would be good enough. And she slowed me down. She told me that she never felt like I needed to repay her. She didn't want to add that pressure onto me, and that she would support me all the way. And it felt like such a great relief out. But that idea of needing to make my mom proud never left. And instead of it being this negative thing, it became this positive thing where nothing that I could do would be a disappointment to her as long as I'm there with her and as long as I'm doing my best. And that has shaped me. I now look at life knowing that there's full of possibilities and that I can try things even if I won't succeed at them. I can try them, right? Nothing is useless. It is just simply something that I can turn something that I find useless into something that I find important. That's the fun of life. So just be a rock.